write the name of the tag, and after that we have to use the property value. So in current page, wherever you will call the div tag, everywhere this property value will get applied. Another method was CSS by ID, where we have seen how to create a ID. So we can create the ID using hash, and then for that we can again write the property value, and wherever we want to integrate this ID, we will go and we will write for ID for particular tag name ID equal to something. Let me open that file, last file what we created. The last file we created, that is under the import CSS. These two files we have made. Third one, second one was also there. Third, fourth, let me open. And so you can see here, we have written hash header. So hash used to create the ID, and then name of the ID is called header. Now wherever we want to use this ID called header, we will go in HTML and we will write there ID equal to name of the ID, that is called header. Below again we have written ID equal to middle in HTML, and while creating the ID we have followed the hash middle, and for that we wrote the some certain property and value. That was one example. That was something like this. Let me run and show you. It was something like this. Next, one more example was, that is here. This file, CSS by class. It says like you can create the class using the dot and then class name. And after that, if inside one page, one type of tag, some rule we have written, we'll discuss again. So we wrote here called dot middle and then property value, where we want to call this middle class, we can call dot directly class. For example, we have made a file called example for, under the example for one ID is used here using the hash. Another one class is also used, that is using the dot. We have created the ID using hash and we have created the class using dot. When we went to HTML, when we want to call this ID, when you want to use this ID, you have to write ID equal to name of the ID. When you want to call the class, you have to write class equal to name of the class. Then what will happen? This property will get used here. So that page is something like this. Yes. Then we have seen one line where to use the ID and where to use the class. So one small line of theory we have to remember. Suppose in one page, one type of design is required only one time. Okay, inside a page, one type of design is required only one time. Then we will use the ID. And in one page, one type of design you required many times. Then you can use the class. So last example, what we have. This example is like, in this current page, this blue block header is appearing one time, whereas this yellow block is coming total 4 times. So similar design is many times. So you can use here called class, but this design is only one time. You can use here called ID. This rule is written not only for HTML and CSS. This rule is written for in such a way where it will suitable for HTML also, it will be suitable for CSS also, and in the future once you implement with the JavaScript, then also this rule should be applicable. Then also this rule will be working. So overall, you have seen here under the developer guide, you used to create the ID directly using the hash, used to create the class using the dot, and used to write the CSS directly for tag name. So there we follow the name of the tag, and after that property and values. This is called CSS by tag name. This is called CSS by ID, and this is called CSS by function class. Now single line theory is also written, where to use which one. Then at last we have discussed this point also. Suppose if I go and if you get a requirement to design a page like this is one header section, this is one left side section, this is one more section, and this is one more section. Correct. So what you will follow in this ID or class? You can see all the blocks are different. None of the block is similar. The upper one is little less height, bottom one is more height. Left side is little thin, right side is more wide. Middle is very wide. So you can say in this page, our rule says in one page, one type of design is required again and again. In one page, one type of design is required again and again. Then we can use the class. But in one page, one type of design is required just only one time. Then you can use the ID. Using ID, what will happen? Now your HTML, CSS will work. And in the future, once you want to write the JavaScript, you don't have to create another ID for that. Using same ID, your HTML, CSS will work. And using same ID, JavaScript will also work. Okay. So in this example, you can see whichever the design we have, it's not similar, all are different. So in this case, you should not use the class, you should use as a ID. Class represent a group, class represent multiple. Okay, now suppose if I go inside and I create the boxes like this, one box and then second box. Again, if I create one more box and I create one more box. So you can see inner level 4 boxes, you can see these 4 look are similar. So at this place, what you can use? We can use the class. But the outer one, the bigger box, you have to use the ID. Right side also ID, left side also ID, up also ID, bottom also. It's not necessary only ID, we can use class also. But if you write ID, then using the same ID, now you can communicate with the CSS, and using the same ID, in the future you can communicate with the JavaScript as well. In case if you are writing the class, you have to write the separate class for all, because all the designs are different. And again, you have to use the ID to communicate with the JavaScript. So why can't we use the ID only now and link with the CSS? In the future, using the same ID, we can communicate with the JavaScript. Okay, so after looking into those policies, these 2 lines are written. Okay, if inside a page, one type of design is required only one time, then we can use the ID. Means unique element. Okay, means unique design, unique element, you can use the ID. But in one page, the same type of design is required many times, then you can use the this one called as a class. Okay, after that we have to see next one, how we can write the CSS for a group, how we can write the CSS for the some tag as a parent tag and some tag as a child tag. I think we have created an example for this, but we can write again. Okay, so create a file, give the file name 5.html. Deepak has knowledge on HTML, anything?
Yes, sir.
Okay, then attend, see if you are able to understand. Okay, so example 5 we are going to create in the which folder? Internal CSS. HTML head style. Then we'll go here, we'll use a body tag, under body tag. That's one CSS for group of HTML tags. CSS for the group of HTML tags. Come down, use a p tag, right inside. This is from p tag. Next, write one section tag, and for the section tag, write a ID. Maybe container. This is from section tag. Okay, 4-5 type of element we are going to add. Next, we will add call h2 something. Welcome back. Next, you can write one label tag. This is from label. Okay, hope written. So how many type of tag we are using? H1, paragraph, section, H2 and label. In that one ID is also there, call it a container. Now suppose go here and write call H1, comma, H2, comma, paragraph, comma, hash container, comma, label. So this all the tags where H1, H2 paragraph is a tag, label is a tag, and container is not a tag. Container is the ID. Okay. So you can say these all are the list of selector. This is the list of selector. If you look into your developer guide, I have written the first line syntax. Here you can see whatever we write before flower bracket, curly bracket, it is called a selector. Okay, it's called a selector. Now in this example, you can see what you have written. H1 is a selector, H2 is a selector, P is a selector, hash container is also a selector. That meaning ID also a selector. We can create a class here, class also is a selector. So what is the selector? Number one, in HTML, whichever the tags we have, all are called as selector. Number one. Number two, ID also called as a selector. Class is also called as a selector. Okay. So in case people is asking what is the selector in CSS, your first answer should be in HTML tag, all the tags are called as a selector, but in CSS, all the HTML tags are called as a in HTML, all the tags are called as a tag, but in CSS, all the tags are called as a selector. And apart from that, when we create a ID, that is also called as a selector. When we create a class, that is also called as a selector. Okay. So what you can say, H1, H2, paragraph, container, and label, these all are called as a selector. Now when you keep multiple selector together separated by comma, then it is called CSS by tag name. CSS by tag name, CSS by tag group, or you can say CSS by selector group. Both word is fine. CSS by tag group or CSS by selector group. So how to create this group of the selector? With the help of comma. Now whichever the property value you will write inside, those property value will be applicable for all the selector that we have mentioned here. For example, font hyphen size, if I write 30 px and okay, sorry. You don't add the font size, add some other things. Keep color as the red color and keep text hyphen decoration or text hyphen font hyphen style. Font style, font style italic. Font style is a italic. So what will happen? H1, H2 section, paragraph, whichever the tags are the part of the past part of the group, all will become as a red as well as italic. That is called CSS by tag name or select CSS by tag group or CSS by selector group. Tag name, all the tags are also called as selector. So both word is fine. Now if I run this page, we can find something like this. Okay. H1, H2 paragraph level all become which color? Red color. All become a red color. So we can copy this section. Hope it's working. You can copy this and paste in your developed guide. Okay, hope added. Now we can create the next example to understand how you can make a tag as a parent tag and how you can make a tag as a child tag. Okay. Or maybe the tags will be by default with the parent and child. Now how to apply the CSS for that. So you will create next example, example 6.html under internal CSS folder. Okay, example 6.html. HTML you start and end. Head you open close. Style open close. Body is open close. Okay, hope ready. Next, after that, follow a division, not division, UL you can write. UL and LI. UL and LI, where UL is the parent, LI is the child. Inside the LI, follow a E tag, EHREF, keep some here text, call home. Something you can add. Okay, hope ready. Now you will copy this 3 Li from here, 3 or 4 Li, and paste after UL. You can write on H1 list Li tags without UL. Li tags without UL, you will paste here. Okay, hope done. Now you can see UL is the parent tag, LI is the child tag, and every LI have one A tag. So A will be the child of LI and LI will be the child of UL. In that, the upper LI is following the parent UL, whereas bottom LI is not following the parent. Now, how to write the CSS in such a way where it should apply only for the first LI, not for the second LI. Or let's go here. A is the tag name. For this A tag, if I write here color red, so all the A will come in the red color. Next, if you write here call text hyphen decoration. Text decoration will help you to remove underline. Text decoration none. Underline will get removed. After that, font hyphen weight. Bold. Now this will apply how many places? For all the A tag or only a specific A tag? This will apply for all the A or a specific A? Yes, in current page, how many A tag we have? Everywhere it will get applied because this becomes CSS by tag name. In current page, how many A tag we have? Everywhere the same property and value will get applied. See, all the A become a red color and underline is gone. Next, after that, we want to apply only for those A tag that is under the LI. So you will cook the LI first and then a space and A. So LI will become as a parent and A will become as a child. LI will become parent and A will become as a child. So still it will apply for all the A tags because the upper A is also part of the LI and bottom A is also part of the LI. It will apply everywhere. Let me show you. It's here. It's getting applied everywhere. Now next is parent, main parent. So main parent is the UL. It has a child called LI and LI has a child called A. So the only those A tag will get the color red, text decoration none and font weight bold. Only those A tag, that A tag is under the LI. The A tag is under the LI and LI should be under the UL. Okay, not all the A tag, only those A tag that is under the LI and LI should be under the UL. There only the color will happen in the red color that is here. Right. So happening only for the upper LI, not for the bottom LI. Next, after that, so this is the way you are going to write the CSS for the parent and child. Parent will be the first tag, child will be the second tag, last will be those tag where you are going to apply the CSS. So you are addressing to the A, you are giving a address to compiler saying like you write this, apply the CSS for A tag, but not all the A tag. Only those A tag that should be under the LI and LI must be under the UL. So this becomes the address where your compiler will search in current file, first UL, then LI, and then whichever the A will come, for that all the A, it will get applied. Okay. Now let me go here. If I write the UL space LI, UL space LI, so it will not apply for all A. It will not apply for all the LI. It will apply only for those LI that is under the UL tag. So for that, what we'll write? Display as a inline. Display colon inline. And padding or maybe margin right, margin left 30 px. Okay, hope ready. Written margin left how much? 30 px. Save now. So all the li got converted into inline, but not all li. Only those li that is under the UL. Next, come down. Write some CSS for UL tag. Directly UL tag. So those UL tag that is under the current page. Means in current page all the UL tag. Background maybe black color, padding 30 px, text hyphen align as center. So it will apply a space inside the padding, inside the UL, 30 pixel, background will be black color and text align will be center. Check now, background become which color? Black color. Right? So this is called CSS for the parent tag and child tag. The parent can be a ID also. The parent you have written as a UL. It is not necessary only UL will be there, division will be there. The parent tag can be a ID also. One parent will be ID and another ID will be as a child. Tag ID also can be a parent and child. ID selector also can be a parent and child. Class selector also can be a parent and child. Now, suppose for example, in this file, if I write for this UL tag, if I write ID equal to NAV, nav. So what will happen now? ID, UL tag only, but what is the ID of that? NAV. So instead of writing here the UL, condition in the current page, there can be multiple UL. If there is a multiple UL, then what will happen? This method will fail. It will not help you. So instead of writing as a UL, we can write here this one also as nav. Still, it is applying for UL, but those UL whose ID is nav. So this is also possible that a ID can be a parent and a class can be a parent. For what purpose? To maintain the uniqueness. Now, if I run this file, now also it will work same way. You can see same output. but it is now for a specific UL, not for all the UL. Because in current page, there can be some other UL also. If some other UL, then what will happen? Same thing will get applied. Now same thing will not get applied. Why? Because we said yes, this is the UL. For that, ID is called NaN. So apply for those UL where ID is what? NAV. You can copy this and paste in a developer guide. Check now, working or not working? Yeah, so you copied, you will go to the developer guide, paste here, example. Okay, now again, you can paste another example also. Example 2, where instead of map, you can keep as a UL. Both is possible. Below you can write, it will apply for those a tag where parent is li, parent is li, and parent is li, and li parent is ul slash has map. Li and li parent is ul or map. Based on these 5 rules, what you have written, ID class, parent child, entire CSS are written. Whoever have written the CSS, they have used this method. Okay, now if you have written it, let me show you any other website. Suppose you go to the Flipkart. In Flipkart, okay, in Flipkart, I will do the right click and open the view page source. Open the view page source. Where so many CSS files are calling. If I click on any CSS link, If I click on any CSS link, CSS file will open, but this CSS files are look like encrypted CSS file. Yeah, these files are bit encrypted CSS file. You can see here. In this file, you can see it is encrypted CSS file. Okay, or better open other website. Their CSS files are not encrypted. I went here, right click, page view source. You can see here some CSS are written. This CSS are, one is for the by default for the tag name, another one is for the class, next one is for the ID, next one is also for the class, next one is also for the class. Right, you can see everywhere what are the methods are used, ID and class, ID and class. Correct, you can see in this file everywhere here hash means ID, hash means ID again, ID class are used frequently everywhere. When you look into the HTML block, here also there is a class everywhere. Many places are class only. Almost everywhere class are used, right? So whichever the CSS people follow in the market, they use the same similar technique. They use the ID, they use the class, they use the CSS for parent child. These 3-4 methods are popular method everywhere now in the market. Okay. So we will follow the same technique, and using that we will be creating some different type of templates. So how many method you got total? How many way you can write the CSS? This is the first method, CSS for a tag name. This is the second method, CSS for a ID. This is the third method, CSS for a class. And this is the fourth method, CSS for a tag group. And this is the fifth method, CSS for a parent selector and child selector. Right. So now next after this, we will create some different type of template design to implement and to understand is all the property and values. Okay, so go ahead and create the next file. Template one. Template one.html under the internal folder. Template one.html under the internal CSS folder. HTML head. Style. Follow the body. Now inside the body tab, you can write few tags. For example, the first in the beginning, keep one div tag, and for that to write ID equal to block 1. Header section is the first block of the page. Second block division only. ID equal to block 2 ID equal to block 2. Next, after that, UL ID equal to NAV LI LI E tag leave as of now, just follow the text. Home about us. Contact us. Login. Register. Inquiry. Services. This all we have written for division UL. Next, write one more division. Give ID equal to block 3. Block 3. Next, write one more tag called footer from the HTML file. Footer is here. So for all the tags, we are given some ID. Footer is only one time. So we can write CSS by tag name also. Complete HTML, then we'll add some CSS. Okay, so hope HTML is written. Now write the CSS for body tag. For body tag, you write the CSS. In that you will give background. sky blue color, and after that margin 50 px. So 50 pixel gap will be from all the side. If we run the page, you can see some gap will be here from left side, some gap from top, and same way gap will be from bottom also. So this left side gap is close to 50 px. Now write the CSS for block 1. Block 1 is a ID. So you will write here hash block 1, where you will find you have to add it background as a dark blue and padding 20 px and color white. Background dark blue, padding 20 px and color as a white. Block 1, if you run it, blue color. Next, after that, this one, navigation. But before navigation, we have this one, block 2. Write the CSS for block 2. As block 2. Just give height somewhere 70 px. It will occupy the height as a 70 px. It will occupy the height as a 70 px. Next, after this, you will write the CSS for nav. So you can see some space will get applied automatically. Some space got applied. Next CSS will be for nav. So nav will represent hash nav. So hope we are following that. Please write this much and let me know. Body block 1, block 2. Let me know in the chat. Completed, then we can move next. Okay, then you will write the CSS for nav. CSS hash nav as nav as nav background you can keep as a white color, background white color, keep padding 20 px, text hyphen align center, background white, padding 20, align as a center. Next, after that, as nav space delay, display colon inline, all should come in one line. After that, color colon red. Then font hyphen size 20 px. Padding hyphen left, padding not left, direct padding. Same 20 px. Okay, hope ready. It should look like this. Next, after this footer is coming, and we have one more block here. So we'll work for that. We can go for the next block called block 3. Write the CSS as block 3. Block 3. Inside the block 3, you will add height of block 3, 500 px. Background of block 3, pink. Okay, background got changed. Which color? Pink color. How much? 500 in the height. Next, after this footer we have. So write some CSS for footer also. As footer, not as footer, directly footer. Because footer is a tag. Footer is a tag. Okay. Next, after this, inside the footer, height of the footer, keep 100 px nearly. Background of the footer, black color you can keep. Color of the footer, white color you can keep. Height, background, color, text line. It should come in the center. Center. Then after that, next will be called padding. 10-15 px. We'll see footer will come in the last. Footer will come in the last. Footer is a footer tag. It has designed to display the content in the bottom section of the page. Footer tag. From the HTML5, this is from. Okay. Let's check now. Where is the footer? Footer is at the bottom. So which tag we have used? Div tag we have used. With the help of div tag, we divided the page into multiple blocks. So if required, if anyone asks what is the div tag, we can say with the help of div tag, we divide the page into multiple blocks. Okay, will help you especially to create some kind of menu, sub-menu. Footer is used to display the content in the bottom section of the page. Similar way, we have a tag called header that is used to display the content in the top that we can see in the next example. Hope working and look similar. For block 3, you can add some padding also. Padding 15 px for block 3 and text hyphen align colon as a center. This is for the block 3. Padding 15 px, text align as a center. Now in block 3, we can add some HTML, some text, some paragraph, some H1, H2. It will look filled with the content. Okay, so I will come down under the block 3. Under the block 3, I will use one H1 tag. Welcome home something, use one p tag also below, and inside the p tag, display some text data. Display some something like this. Okay, completed. Looking similar or different? Same. Say yes, no in the chat. Your page look similar. You can see multiple blocks were divided. We will create some 4-5 template. You will become confident automatically. The CSS, value of the CSS is, it will help you to change the look and feel of your page. After that, user experience will be better. Device wise, different type of device. We will learn how to apply the CSS.